Hey guys, so recently I came across a website called psionnation.com, which is pretty much just a forum where these people claim to be able to use supernatural abilities, and on the forum they pretty much come together and teach each other how to improve upon their supernatural abilities and just learn from each other and all that kind of stuff. Now, what struck me as odd was that usually if you see something like this, you'd be like, why would all these people come together to do this kind of stuff if, it were fake? And you would think maybe because they're profiting off of it or someone's, benefiting. But there were no ads on the website and it didn't seem like they were making any money off of it. So I figured this might actually be legitimate. So I did interview one of the psychics on the website. They call themselves psions. Anyways, I interviewed the one guy and about the supernatural abilities, and this is what he said. Can you explain what psionics is?
Sure. Psionics is the ability of any individual to manipulate psychic energy, commonly referred to as psi, to complete tasks.
So from what I've read, everyone is capable of developing these abilities, even me and everyone else watching this. It is correct?
Yeah, that's definitely true. Anyone can learn psionics. It just takes some time and dedication.
How did you discover psionics?
Well, about 7 years ago, I was majorly into role-playing games, and the Psionics Handbook from Dungeons & Dragons version 3.5 really caught my attention. A couple of quick Google searches later, and I started learning. I've been practicing for a total of 5 years now.
What was the very first ability that you began to develop?
Well, where most people, including myself, start is with energy manipulation, moving around your own energy and sensing the energy in the environment around you.
What abilities have you developed so far?
Well, so far the end goal abilities that I've had success with have been empathy, the ability to sense and influence emotions of others, telepathy, the ability to sense and alter the thoughts of others, psychokinesis, the ability to move objects with energy, although my successes so far have been limited to moving a pencil around once or twice and generating decent winds, energetic healing, and mind hacking, which is an advanced form of telepathy that allows you to look much deeper into the mind, access memories, add new ones, change attitudes towards certain things, as well as a host of other things. I've also been had a very small amount of skill in remote viewing, which is an ability where you can see the surrounding area of a given object. I'm still learning that, though.
Do you personally know anyone else who practices this kind of stuff?
Well, this is a bit of a trick question, as almost everyone uses psionics unconsciously. The feeling you get when someone is watching you? Psionics. That moment when you know your friend is having a bad day even though their text said nothing about it? That's psionics. However, to answer the spirit of the question, sort of. My family practices a limited amount of energetic healing, however they regarded the rest of my abilities as pretty much false. Other than that, I interact with a number of psions online, but I've yet to meet one in person.
What are the most impressive psionic feat that you have ever accomplished?
That's a tough one. I performed a complete reconstruction of someone's energetic body, but that doesn't sound impressive necessarily. I think probably the most visible impressive thing that I've done was create a 30-mile-an-hour wind, then change its direction to go around in a circle. I used it to prove to my brother that what I was doing is real.
What are the most impressive psionic feat that you have ever witnessed?
That's another tough one. I've not really been that involved in the community until recently, so I don't see other people do stuff much. So I'd have to say it was a particular construct that someone I know built. It was an energetic creature that was designed for combat and set up so that it could adapt to any opponent.
Now, I know that a lot of your abilities kind of were telepathy and stuff might be kind of difficult to demonstrate just over Skype, but is there a way that you could do a demonstration, just right here over Skype somehow?
That would be quite difficult. I mean, it's super easy to fake most of what I can do over a call or even on a video. So it probably wouldn't make sense to do that right now.
Do you have any thoughts on why science doesn't really verify psionic abilities?
Well, actually, there's a number of studies that indicate psionics is fact. In the 1960s, there was a Russian woman who demonstrated in front of scientists the ability to move objects seemingly with her mind. And actually, the United States government has some extensive research on the subject. If you ask for information on the remote viewing under the Freedom of Information Act, they'll send you a many-page table of contents from which you can request studies or research on psionics.
What would you say to people who are skeptical of this kind of stuff?
Well, I have no real reason to prove them wrong. There's not really anything in it for me, so I'd probably just say nothing.
What would you say to someone beginning to practice psionics?
I think I'd direct them to one particular website, psionguild.org. It's where I started. It's a dead community, but the articles there are invaluable. I'm also creating a curriculum for beginners to learn everything, all the way up from basic energy manipulation to advanced mind hacking. So that's a good one, too. The other website I'd recommend is psionnation.com. I'm an administrator there, and the staff is nice, and the community is active. So many of the people there are new, but having people to practice with is always nice.
Do you have any final thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to say to any of the viewers, if you decide to get into psionics, then be careful of spirit entities. A lot of websites will say that they're strictly good, but they actually tend to be deceptive, and don't have your best interests in mind if they give you any advice. So use your better judgment and as much common sense as you can. There's a lot of fake stuff out there. Don't get caught by it.